Hello, my name is April and welcome to the Yoga Ranger Studio. Today we're going to be working with Swan and Sleeping Swan. I've had a few requests to offer some different alternatives and options and modifications and variations for this pose using different props, as well as explaining the pose itself and where exactly it affects you. So Swan and Sleeping Swan will affect a lot of different meridians. Pretty much all of them, because you're looking at opening the front of the thigh, you're looking at an opening of the leg, the hip, the outer hip. If you're in Sleeping Swan, you're looking at the arms, chest, opening up this entire space, and a little bit of activity through the arms and upper back as well. So a lot of meridians affected by these poses. Some props that you might want to take a look at if you have or don't have, you can always switch these out for other things. A blanket or two, if you don't have those, a couple of beach towels will work. A bolster, or you can take a couple of pillows and kind of wrap them in a beach towel, and that will work as well. And or a couple of blocks. If you don't have any of these, you can make just use some different things around the house. So any kind of couch pillows or couch cushions, you could use those as well. So we're going to start with just the poses themselves in just no propping here, and then we'll kind of work into the props. So I like to take my knee over to the wrist. So we're going to start with right hand side. Turn my knee out a little bit, walk that back leg back, and then let the leg fall flat. So some people will feel more sensation by leaning outward a little bit. Some will find more by leveling off and finding the center line. If this is too much for your knee, it might be better to lean over and come into a position of where the outside of the hip is getting more effect and you have the knee open, so you're not compressing it. So Swan is just lifting up. So here, if you wanted to, you could take some blocks. I have short arms, so blocks are really helpful for me. This is going to give me more lift, a little bit more opening in the belly, abdomen, and chest for me here. Or you could take a bolster or a small table and kind of lift up onto that, giving you a little lift here. If your back knee is uncomfortable, you can always take a blanket or a towel, or even a hand towel underneath that knee to give it a little bit of soft surface here. So in this pose, when you're upright, if you wanted to, you could take a block underneath the hip. You could take another block underneath this hip to give it a little proppage as well. So front side of the hip, and I'll show you on the other side what that looks like. Whatever height you needed to take that block onto. For me, it would be about here. And I can take my hip down onto that block just a little bit to give it just a little bit of a surface to come down on. So you can rest it, picking whatever height on that block that you needed to. Here you could use the other block for your lift. In the alternative, you could also tuck a bolster underneath that leg, lifting up. Some people like to take the bolster across so that when they lay down, they have something comfortable to lay down on. So taking our normal, plain old Sleeping Swan, you come down to whatever height you want. So for some people, that could be here. For some people, it could be here. If you're somewhere in between, you can always take those blocks and find a little stability here. Now, in a back bend, you have a little bit of back bend here. If you wanted to pull those blocks a little bit closer and take those elbows directly underneath the shoulders, that would add a little bit more bend to your back. You're going to kind of lengthen out and then sort of allow yourself to fold forward. This may get you a little bit closer to the floor, might bring a little bit more sensation for you. If you were on the outside of the hip, which is always an option, here again, you can take those blocks and fold in. Find the position that gives you the most sensation without pain or discomfort where you're thinking, I would never be able to hold this for very long. If you're using a bolster, you can take that bolster down the center line. It'll give you a little support for your belly and chest. Or you could take it across. You could bring yourself all the way down. Now we're so used to being told that in a normal yang class we would have to have those hips in line, so level when you come all the way down. So you could put like a glass on the back. That's not necessary in yin class. We're looking at finding a place that's sustainable for you that has sensation. So for me, coming straight down the middle, I feel absolutely nothing at all. If I were to lean out a little bit, I feel this in my hip, which is where I would want to, for me today, feel that. If you want to feel it somewhere else, you would sort of shift around a little bit and find that ground for you. Some people have the opening to take that foot super straight out, where it's level here. This will never happen for me. Your bones may prohibit that, like in my case, they just don't want to go there. You don't have to. You can have that foot back behind you. You can even have it back even further, tucked underneath where the heel is closer to the center of the pelvis, over to the side. Now, an alternative altogether for this would be to come onto your back. You can take a version of Sleeping Swan by just crossing the ankle. So we used to know this as a figure 4 stretch. It's still swan. We're still getting that hip opening. If you would like, you can take the hand and press the knee away from you. You can reach around, grab hold of the back of the leg and pull it in. Or you can take your foot on a block or bolster to help you with that. Keep your foot just a little bit flexed. This too is a version of Sleeping Swan. Sometimes there's some people with knee issues or knee replacement surgeries or any kind of ligament work in this knee. You would want to take this version for a while until you feel more comfortable with the bend, and you may never feel completely comfortable with that deep bend or compression. If you find you're sort of close to that and you would like to take a different version, like the face down version, you can also take a blanket or a small towel and roll it up behind the knee before you come into this pose. And I'll just use my hand as an example. Tuck it back behind there. When you come into the pose, you're going to end up with a little bit of space behind the kneecap. This may be more comfortable for you. You can even take it out and you still have a little bit of space coming back into this pose. You can also, in this pose, if you wanted to, take the knee completely off the ground. So for me, this actually feels really good. You could even bend the knee. You could even take that knee onto that bolster or block and bend the knee up. All sorts of different variations here. If you have the opening to do so, you can come all the way down. You can also do that on the side, coming all the way down. This looks a little bit like a pinwheel or an open-ended deer pose. It end up being kind of looking like that. So use whatever props you have. It could be a pillow off the couch, a couch cushion, a pillow off the bed to give you the cushioning that you need. I find that for most people in Swan and Sleeping Swan, the biggest issue would be the knee compression. So if that's really an issue for you, just go onto your back. Always take that on the back version of it. You can use a couple of blocks. You can even stack these higher, and that'll bring that knee even closer and give you more stretch on the outside of the hip. So kind of find that happy medium where you can use whatever you can. Small stool, small table would work the same way. Or you could prop your foot up against a wall or a couch. Keep that bent knee into you. You can even take a version of it seated like this. Another option for you. This is just another version of Swan and Sleeping Swan that works just as well. This will even open the chest and shoulders as you're doing this pose as well. So a couple of options there for you. I hope you're enjoying these tutorials. I've had a lot of requests for more tutorials on the yin poses themselves, just to give some options during the practice to practice those poses in there that afford you more comfort, more sustainability. So if you liked this practice, please like and comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on what you would like to see in these tutorials and other videos as well. Would love to hear back from you. If you're not a subscriber, please click that subscribe button over here to your right-hand side and join me each Thursday morning bright and early for a brand new practice. And if you would like to explore your yin side a little more deeply, you can join me at my member site, theyogaranger.vhx.tv. There's a link up above and down below. We have exclusive practices there, ad-free YouTube videos like this and more. And we also have a monthly themed practice calendar with journal prompts, lots of extras, a Facebook community, and a live call every single month where you can ask your questions about practice or whatever you would like to ask and get them answered live. So would love to see you there, but if not, would be happy to see you back here on YouTube. Have a great week.